Okay, today is 13th of August and we are at Samyutta Nikaya 35, chapter Salayatana-samyutta. From this Sutta 35.132. On one occasion, the Venerable Mahakachana was dwelling among the people of Avanti in a forest hut at Makarakata. Then a number of Brahmin Youths, students of the Brahmin Lohija, were collecting firewood, approached the Venerable Mahakachana's forest hut. Having approached, they stomped and trampled all around the hut, and in a boisterous and noisy manner, they played various pranks, saying, "These shaveling ascetics, menials, swarthy offspring of the Lord's feet, are honored, respected, esteemed, worshipped, and venerated by their servile devotees." Stop here for a moment. These Brahmins, because they are the priest sect, so they look down on Samanas. Samanas are the renunciants of other castes. These Brahmins, they are one caste, and all the other castes, if they renounce and become monks or ascetics, they're called Samanas. So these Brahmins believe that the Brahmins are born from the head of Brahma, God, whereas the other castes are born from the feet of Brahma. So now they know that these Buddha's disciples are respected and venerated by their devotees, so they are jealous, they don't like it. They came outside the kuti and made a lot of noise. And the Venerable Mahakachana came out of his dwelling and said to those Brahmin youths, "Don't make any noise, boys. I will speak to you on the Dhamma." And this was said, those youths became silent. Then the Venerable Mahakachana addressed those youths with verses. "Those men of old who excelled in virtue, those Brahmins who recall the ancient rules, their sense doors guarded, well protected, dwelt having vanquished wrath within. They took delight in Dhamma and meditation, those Brahmins who recall the ancient rules. But these have fallen, claiming we recite, puffed up by clan, faring unrighteously, overcome by anger, armed with diverse weapons, they molest both the frail and the firm. For one with sense doors unguarded, all the vows he undertakes are vain, just like the wealth a man gains in a dream. Fasting and sleeping on the ground, bathing at dawn, study of the three Vedas, rough heights, metal locks and dirt, hymns, rules and vows, austerities, hypocrisy, bent staffs, ablutions. These emblems of the Brahmins are used to increase their worldly gains. A mind that is well concentrated, clear and free from blemish, tender towards all sentient beings. That is the path for attaining Brahma." Stop here for a moment. So here the Venerable Mahakachana was annoyed by these Brahmin youths. So to tell them off, he said, those ancient Brahmins, they really practiced the Dhamma and meditated. But nowadays, Brahmins are not like before. They bully others, and then their sense doors are unguarded, and then they do their rituals like fasting and sleeping on the ground, bathing at dawn, study the three Vedas, their books, wearing rough hides and matted locks and dirt when they do their sacrifices to heaven, and chanting their hymns and practicing their rules and vows and austerities. All that is hypocrisy, he says. All used to increase their worldly gains. So that will naturally make them angry. Then those Brahmin youths, angry and displeased, approached the Brahmin Lohija and told him, this one should be Brahmana Lohija, the holy man Brahmana. "See now, sir, you should know that the ascetic Mahakachana categorically denigrates and scorns the hymns of the Brahmins. And this was said, they went back to their teacher, the Brahmin Lohicha, and complained to the Brahmin Lohicha that this Mahakachana said past disparaging remarks about Brahmins. When this was said, the Brahmin Lohicha was angry and displeased. But then it occurred to him, it is not proper for me to abuse and revile the ascetic Mahakachana solely on the basis of what I have heard from these youths. Let me approach him and inquire. Then the Brahmin Lohicha, together with those Brahmin youths, approached the Venerable Mahakachana. He exchanged greetings with the Venerable Mahakachana, and when they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said, Master Kachana, did a number of Brahmin youths, my students, come this way while collecting firewood? They did, Brahmin. Did Master Kachana have any conversation with them? I did have a conversation with them, Brahmin. What kind of conversation did you have with them, Master Kachana? The conversation I had with those youths was like this. Those men of old who excelled in virtue, those Brahmins who recalled the ancient rules, their sense doors guarded, well protected, dwelt having vanquished wrath within. They took delight in Dhamma and meditation, etc., as before. Such was the conversation I had with those youths. And Lohicha asked, Master Kachana, you said now with sense doors unguarded. In what way, Master Kachana, is one with sense doors unguarded? And the Venerable Mahakachana said, Here, Brahmin, having seen a form with the eye, someone is intent upon a pleasing form and repelled by a displeasing form. He dwells without having set up mindfulness of the body, with a limited mind, and he does not understand as it really is that liberation by mind, liberation by wisdom, wherein those evil, unwholesome states cease without remainder. Similarly, having heard a sound, having smelt an odor, having tasted a taste, and recognized a touch and thoughts, someone is intent upon pleasing contact and repelled by a displeasing contact. He dwells without having set up mindfulness of the body, with a limited mind, and he does not understand as it really is that liberation by mind, liberation by wisdom, wherein those evil, unwholesome states cease without remainder. It is in such a way, Brahmin, that one is with sense doors unguarded. And the Brahmin said, It is wonderful, Master Kachana. It is amazing, Master Kachana, how Master Kachana has declared one whose sense doors are actually unguarded to be one with sense doors unguarded. But Master Kachana said, with sense doors guarded. In what way, Master Kachana, is one with sense doors guarded? Here, Brahmin, having seen a form with the eye, someone is not intent upon a pleasing form, and not repelled by a displeasing form. He dwells, having set up mindfulness of the body, with a measureless mind, and he understands as it really is that liberation by mind, liberation by wisdom, wherein those evil, unwholesome states cease without remainder. Similarly, for sounds, smells, tastes, touch, and thoughts, it is in such a way, Brahmin, that one is with sense doors guarded. It is wonderful, Master Kachana. It is amazing, Master Kachana, how Master Kachana has declared one whose sense doors are actually guarded to be one with sense doors guarded. Magnificent Master Kachana, magnificent Master Kachana. The Dhamma has been made clear in many ways by Master Kachana. From today, let Master Kachana remember me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge for life. Let Master Kachana approach the Lohicha family just as he approaches the families of the lay followers in Makarakata. The Brahmin youths and maidens there will pay homage to Master Kachana. They will stand up for him out of respect. They will offer him a seat and water, and that will lead to their welfare and happiness for a long time. It's the end of the sutta. So here, this Brahmin, he was a bit annoyed that the Venerable Mahakachana had spoken ill of Brahmins, but he came to find out actually whether this was what he said. Then Venerable Mahakachana was not shy to tell him exactly what he said. And he asked him about what he mean by sense doors unguarded and sense doors guarded. And when he heard the explanation, then he realized that this is a practicing monk. He really practices this, so he had a lot of respect. But unlike the Buddha's followers who take refuge with the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, you find here, I think, does he take refuge with the triple gem only with the Venerable Mahakachana? Oh yeah, I took refuge with the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So generally, you find during the Buddha's days, that the Brahmins, they were a bit jealous of the Buddha and his disciples. Not only the Brahmins, other ascetics also, because the Buddha and his disciples, they were very well respected and well supported. So the others were not so well supported and respected, so they became jealous. The next sutta is 35.133. On one occasion, the Venerable Udayi was living at Kamanda in the Brahmin Todea's mango grove. Then a Brahmin youth, a student of the Brahmin lady of the Vera Hachani clan, approached the Venerable Udayi and greeted him. When they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side, and the Venerable Udayi instructed, exhorted, inspired and gladdened him with the Dhamma talk. Having been instructed, exhorted, inspired and gladdened by the Dhamma talk, the Brahmin youth rose from his seat, approached the Brahmin lady of the Vera Hachani clan and said to her, "See now, madam, you should know that the ascetic Udayi teaches a Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle and good in the end. With the right meaning and phrasing, he reveals a holy life that is perfectly complete and pure." Just stop here for a moment. So you see here, in the suttas, we find that the holy life explained by the Buddha and the Buddha's Arahant disciples is perfectly complete and pure. So the Buddha's teachings are complete and pure. So there's no need to add to the Buddha's teachings. A lot of later monks, they have added a lot of new books to the Buddha's teachings, which are not necessary. Because by adding the new books, they have distorted the Buddha's teachings. And then the lady said, "In that case, young man, invite the ascetic Udayi in my name for tomorrow's meal." "Yes, madam," the youth replied. Then he went to the Venerable Udayi and said to him, "Let Master Udayi consent to accept tomorrow's meal from our revered teacher, the Brahmin lady of the Vera Hachani clan." The Venerable Udayi consented by silence. Then when the night had passed, in the morning the Venerable Udayi dressed, took his bowl and outer robe, and went to the residence of the Brahmin lady of the Vera Hachani clan. There he sat down in the appointed seat. Then with her own hands the Brahmin lady served and satisfied the Venerable Udayi with various kinds of delicious food. When the Venerable Udayi had finished eating and had put away his bowl, the Brahmin lady put on her sandals, sat on a high seat, covered her head and told him, "Preach the Dhamma, ascetic." Having said there will be an occasion for that, sister, he rose from his seat and departed. So here this lady asked the Venerable Udayi to give a Dhamma talk. But Venerable Udayi said on a later occasion and departed. Why did he depart? Because the lady didn't show enough respect by using her sandals and sitting on a high seat and covering her head. The second time that Brahmin youth approached the Venerable Udayi and received Dhamma teaching, and he was very respectful, and then he came and told the lady again, "See now, madam, you should know that the ascetic Udayi teaches a Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle and good in the end. With the right meaning and phrasing, he reveals a holy life that is perfectly complete and pure." And she said, "In such a way, young man, you keep on praising the ascetic Udayi. But when I told him, preach the Dhamma ascetic, he said, there will be an occasion for that, sister." And he rose from his seat and departed. And the youth said, "That, madam, was because you put on your sandals, sat down on a high seat, covered your head, and told him, preach the Dhamma ascetic. For these worthies respect and revere the Dhamma." Stop here for a moment. So here the youth, the young man, told his teacher that you didn't show enough respect. You were wearing your sandals, and you sat on the highest seat and covered your head. And these parables, they respect the Dhamma, because the Dhamma is so worthy of respect, that if somebody behaves like this, does not show enough respect for the Dhamma, the monk will not teach. And then she said, "In that case, young man, invite the ascetic Udayi in my name for tomorrow's meal." "Yes, madam," he replied. Then he went to the Venerable Udayi and invited him, and the Venerable Udayi consented by silence. And similarly, the same thing happened. He came and had his meal, the lady served him and all that. When the Venerable Udayi had finished eating and had put away his bowl, the Brahmin lady removed her sandals, sat down on a low seat, uncovered her head, and said to him, "Venerable sir, what do the Arahants maintain must exist for there to be pleasure? And what is it that the Arahants maintain must cease to exist for there to be no pleasure and pain?" And the Venerable said, "Sister, the Arahants maintain that when the eye exists, there is pleasure and pain. And when the eye does not exist, there is no pleasure and pain. The Arahants maintain that when the ear exists, there is pleasure and pain. And when the ear does not exist, there is no pleasure and pain. Similarly, for the nose, tongue, body and mind." And this was said, the Brahmin lady of the Verakachani clan said to the Venerable Udayi, "Magnificent Venerable Sir, magnificent Venerable Sir, the Dhamma has been made clear in many ways by Venerable Udayi, as though he were turning upright what had been turned upside down, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. I go for refuge to the Blessed One, to the Dhamma and to the Bhikkhu Sangha. From today, let Master Udayi remember me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge for life." That's the end of the sutta. So when the second time, she invited this Venerable Udayi. After the meal, she knew what to do. She took off her sandals and covered her head, sat on a low seat, and then asked this question. And then the Venerable Udayi explained, for there to be pleasure and pain, there must be the six sense organs. When you have the six sense organs, then you have contact. When you have contact, then the feeling arises. So the feeling can be pleasant or painful. So similarly for all the other sense bases. So if there's no six sense doors, there's no contact, so there's no pleasure and pain, no feeling. So she was impressed by this, and she took refuge in the Triple Gem, and also a lay follower of the Venerable Udayi. The next sutta, 35.135, the Buddha said, "Monks, it is a gain for you, it is well gained by you that you have obtained the opportunity for living the holy life. I have seen monks, the hell named contacts sixfold base. There, whatever form one sees with the eye is undesirable, never desirable, unlovely, never lovely, disagreeable, never agreeable. Similarly, whatever sounds one hears with the ear, whatever odor one smells, whatever taste one savors, whatever touch one feels, whatever thoughts one cognizes is undesirable, never desirable, unlovely, never lovely, disagreeable, never agreeable. It is a gain for you, monks." I'll stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is saying that a monk who practices the holy life is very good. is very beneficial because the Buddha says he has seen the hell where all the sixfold contacts are painful. Whatever you see is frightening, painful. Whatever sounds you hear are so frightening, painful. Whatever smells, etc. Even the mind, on top of the physical suffering, even the mental torture, these beings in hell experience. So because of that, the Buddha says, if we live the holy life, that is really good, because we are moving away from the direction of hell. If you don't live the holy life, and you don't attain, especially if you don't attain the stream entry and become an Arya, the chances that you will still go down to hell. And the Buddha continued, it is a gain for you monks, it is well gained by you that you have obtained the opportunity for living the holy life. I have seen monks, the heaven named contact sixfold base. There whatever form one sees with the eye is desirable, never undesirable, lovely, never unlovely, agreeable, never disagreeable. Similarly, whatever sound one hears, whatever odor, taste, touch, and thoughts one cognizes is desirable, never undesirable, lovely, never unlovely, agreeable, never disagreeable. It's a gain for you monks, it is well gained by you that you have obtained the opportunity for living the holy life. So the second part, the Buddha says, he has seen the heavens where if you are in that heaven, all your six sense bases, all the contacts are lovely, desirable, agreeable. In other words, you will be very, very happy there. So the Buddha is hinting that if you practice the holy life sincerely, you will be able to attain rebirth in that heaven where you enjoy life for a long time. So this is just an incentive. It's an Indian belief that if you become a monk, practice the holy life, that heaven is assured for you. 35.136, the Buddha said, monks, devas and humans delight in forms, take delight in forms, rejoice in forms. With the change, fading away and cessation of forms, devas and humans dwell in suffering. Devas and humans delight in sounds, delight in odors, in taste, in touch, in thoughts. With the change, fading away and cessation of these sense objects, devas and humans dwell in suffering. For a moment. So, heavenly beings and humans, we enjoy life through the six senses, sensual pleasures in terms of forms, sounds, smells, taste, touch and thoughts. But because these sense objects are impermanent, they will change and fade away, cease. So when this change happens, then we will suffer. But monks, the Tathagata, the Arahant, Sammasambuddha, is understood as they really are, the origin and passing away, the gratification, danger and the escape. In the case of forms, he does not take delight in forms, does not take delight in forms, does not rejoice in forms. With the change, fading away and cessation of forms, the Tathagata dwells happily. He is understood as they really are, the origin and passing away, gratification, danger and escape. In the case also of sounds, odors, taste, touch, thoughts. He does not delight in the six sense objects, does not take delight in the six sense objects, does not rejoice in the six sense objects. With the change, fading away and cessation of the six sense objects, the Tathagata dwells happily. That is what the Blessed One said. Having said this, the Fortunate One, the teacher, further said, forms, sounds, odors, taste, touch and thoughts, desirable, lovely, agreeable, so long as it said they are. These are considered happiness by the world with its devas, But where these cease, that they consider suffering. The noble ones have seen as happiness the ceasing of identity. This view of those who clearly see runs counter to the entire world. What others speak of as happiness, that the noble ones say is suffering. What others speak of as suffering, that the noble ones know as bliss. Behold this Dhamma hard to comprehend. Here the foolish are bewildered. For those with blocked minds it is obscure. Sheer darkness for those who do not see. But for the good it is disclosed. It is light here for those who see. The dullards, unskilled in the Dhamma, don't understand it in its presence. This Dhamma isn't easily understood by those afflicted with lust for existence, who flow along the stream of existence, deeply mired in Mara's realm. Who else apart from the noble ones are able to understand this state? When they have rightly known that state, the taintless ones are fully quenched. So, the noble disciples, Aryans, they do not take delight in the sense objects, worldly happiness. So when they change, because the six sense objects, in fact everything in the world must change. So when there's change, we don't suffer. So what do we take happiness in? We take happiness in our mind. We look for happiness within, and that happiness will not change. If we depend on outside things will change. So the Buddha also says that this Dhamma is very hard to comprehend. Foolish people are bewildered, cannot understand at all. Sheer darkness for them. But for those people with wisdom can understand. Those people who practice the Dhamma, we are very different from worldly people. Worldly people like to laugh and joke and all that. People who spiritually mature, they are very serious. They don't laugh and joke like worldly people. Worldly people like to talk a lot. Find somebody always to talk and joke. But people who understand the Dhamma know that this world is suffering. So they are more serious. They don't look for somebody to talk and joke. Time is so precious. A lot of people don't understand. Time is very precious. Time goes by very fast. You waste your time very soon. You find you don't have time left. 35.146 Buddha said, monks, I will teach you new and old karma, the cessation of karma, and the way leading to the cessation of karma. Listen to that and attend closely. I will speak. And what monks is old karma? The eye is old karma, to be seen as generated and fashioned by volition, as something to be felt. The ear, nose, tongue, body and mind is old karma, to be seen as generated and fashioned by volition, as something to be felt. This is called old karma. And what monks is new karma? Whatever action one does now by body, speech or mind, this is called new karma. And what monks is the cessation of karma? When one reaches liberation through the cessation of bodily action, verbal action and mental action, this is called the cessation of karma. And what monks is the way leading to the cessation of karma? This noble eightfold path, that is right view, right thoughts, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right recollection, right concentration. Thus monks, I have taught old karma, I have taught new karma, I have taught the cessation of karma, I have taught the way leading to the cessation of karma. Whatever should be done, monks, by a compassionate teacher, out of compassion for his disciples, desiring their welfare, that I have done for you. These are the feet of trees, monks. These are empty huts. Meditate, monks. Do not be negligent, lest you regret it later. This is our instruction to you. It's the end of the sutta. So here the Buddha says, our eye, our ear, nose, tongue, body and mind is old karma, created by old karma. Volition is karma. A new karma is what we are doing now. our intentional actions now through the body, speech and mind is the new karma. And karma ceases when one becomes liberated. And one becomes liberated, there is no self, no ego. So one does not do any more karma. Even though one does action, it does not count as karma because there is no ego behind that action. And the way leading to the cessation of karma is the Noble Eightfold Path. When you practice the Noble Eightfold Path, then you become liberated from the ego, from the self. And whatever you do also is not counted as karma.